New
Palestinian
recognition for
statehood
Palestinian
and autonomy
people.
and liberation in order to allow the occupation to continue doing what it does, which is to seize land, especially in the West Bank, to kill and murder people, especially in the Gaza Strip, and in general to displace and to genocide the people of Palestine. In fact, when it comes to the Oslo Accords were signed in 1993. Edward Said called the Oslo Accords colonization by negotiation. The idea was that giving mutual recognition, recognizing Israel's quote-unquote right to exist, which, by the way, isn't really a thing in international law, but recognizing Israel in the first place as a state in exchange for the recognition of Palestinian territories. It was a very controversial move at the time, a move that resulted in a lot of backlash. And I think that in 2025, looking back, we can say that, yeah, it might not have been the best move. That the de facto situation was that even though it seemed like Palestine was starting to get some autonomy or some recognition, the reality was that Edward Said was right, that the way in which the Oslo Accords took place and every other negotiation since was it created a status quo where Israel was allowed to militarize and to cut up the West Bank especially, and to continue to chip away, allowing illegal settlements and then enabling the recognition of those settlements in order to pen Palestinians on smaller and smaller and smaller pieces of land, disconnect them more and more, militarize more and more of the space, and essentially make life so difficult that people are willing to leave. And in addition to that, if anybody was against this process, it was really difficult to challenge it because people will just say, oh, well, you don't like the peace process? Like, what else do you want? You want them to go to war? You want them to fight? This is the peace process. Are you against peace? So rhetorically, it was very, very difficult to come and stand up and say, this is not fair. This is actually exactly what Edward Said said. It's colonization by negotiation. You guys are saying that this is a peace process, but in reality, this is a process of displacement and further colonial settlement. And if you dig a little bit deeper into the fine details of this promise by France, Britain, and Canada, there's a lot of reason to be skeptical. France said, for example, that what they're going to recognize is an unmilitarized Palestine. Do you know of a single nation in the world that doesn't have a military or that's not allowed to have a military in order to defend itself? It doesn't really make sense. The Canadian PM said that he would support a pro-Zionist Palestinian state.
A Zionist, if you will, Palestinian state that recognizes the right of Israel to exist, not just to exist, but to prosper and not live in fear.
And when we had previously Dr. Enes Tikriti on one of our programs, he said exactly this point. A state? Well, what type of state? If you push the evildoers to the negotiation table, they're going to